This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so in the yesterday's class, we learn about the S3 bucket. There we discuss few of the storage classes, how to upload bucket, how to create a bucket, how you can deploy the static website using the S3 bucket is something we discussed so far. And in today's session, we are going to talk about the one of the popular service from the which is the RDS service. Okay, now here RDS stands for the Relational Database Service. Okay, RDS stands for the Relational Database Service. So uh, here we'll talk about that this is particular service first today, and then after that we will have a demo on the RDS service. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, understanding what is meant by the RDS. Now, as a DevOps engineer, probably you guys might not have worked with very well with the any of the database service, and this is just obvious. Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, we don't have to really have to be expert in database or any of such technology. It is just that you should know the admin activities, that how to create database, how you can. So let's say your developer is asking to create a database, so you should be able to create it. So that's what your goal is going to be. So let me first of all brief about what is meant by database. Okay, so whenever we have some application, okay, let's say here, just give me a second. Okay, let it be. All right. So here, like till the time you guys know that we were putting some application here on EC2. Let's say we have an EC2 server, and here we have some application which is running. Okay. Now what happened that in many of the cases or many of the application, you guys might have seen that, let's say we have one website, and we use that website, and like in website is usually filled with information that about us or what we do, and then these are the solutions we provide, and at last you can see something like a form that is contact us. Okay, so contact us, and below that we have one form actually. In that form we have written a various fields such as the first name, last name, your mobile number, okay, what is your message, and at last you have some submit button. Okay, so once you clicked on the submit, so whatever the information here you are providing, okay, that's supposed to get stored to the database of the application. Okay, now it's not necessary that your application and the database has to be working on the same machine. Okay, that's something does not happen in most of the cases. But yes, if you want, here also you can just have database. So database is what? Database is nothing but your application required some the something to be stored. Okay, like here, then you can ask me question. Okay, so can't we just store the things in the EBS volume or something like that? Okay, yes, we can. Okay, now EBS volume is what? EBS volume, the thing which you learned, that's a storage type we have. Okay, so on top of the EBS volume, you can store the things, but here to store your database, you're required to have the extra software from the database. Okay, so can you run the database on your EC2 machine? Yes, you can. Okay, and in fact, before coming the ready-made services, we used to that. We used to do like that. So on your server, you can install the necessary softwares the database required. So let's say you require MySQL, so you'll be installing the MySQL here, and then as soon as you're done with the MySQL installation, further your application can start storing the things inside your that MySQL database. But what is meant by the database? Okay, like what exactly it is? Okay, so you can just imagine that the Excel sheet. Okay, the simplest example of database is what? The Excel sheet. which is having the rows and the columns, right? So which is having the rows and the columns. So that's how your Excel sheet is. And in the Excel sheet you have something like, let's say, for first field you have, okay, then you have the second field. So let's say if they are asking about to here you got some contact for us form, okay, and there the first field you have the first name, last name, mobile number, then here it's a message that what you want to ask, and finally you have a submit button. You click that submit button, your data goes to your application. So that's something, the logic you have built it. So in database, how the things are happening here, you will have the first row as like first name, then last name, then mobile number, then a message, okay, something like that. You have the things, and then first customer when it submit the data, so he is going to insert all of the entry in the first column, okay, then second column, third column, like that. We just keep updating the data, okay. Now that's what the database is. That's what the database is. So here what we are actually expecting is that to store the information of one of the user inside the database. So in long term, you guys can just check what his message is, what his query is, what his inquiry is, and you can resolve that. Okay, so that's a from the business side, which we do these things, but we have to do this a lot. Okay, we do this a lot, and in Excel sheet, you know that there is something we have, like a one sheet we have, then second sheet we have, okay, like that. Here also we have a tables. Okay, we have a table. So within the same Excel sheet, if I give you example, let's say if I open any example for a Excel sheet, here you can see that, let's say this is what something the Excel sheet you have, right? So and here you just keep opening the multiple sheets, right? So this sheet and this sheet is going to be different one. The same way in when you work on the database, okay, so there you have a tables, okay, so you can create the multiple tables, and those tables are responsible for multiple activities. So within your this you have something else also, okay, they're also analyzing some of the extra things, so contacts is one table they will have, then they will have some other table where they are storing some other information related to the application, when you're fetching the details, okay, so for that you're keeping some data on some other sheet, okay. So like that you have this database. Now you don't have to really deep dive and understand what is table, how to work with database and everything, but it is just that as a DevOps engineer you should be knowing that how to create a database, how to provide some endpoint to the developer, okay, so such activity you should be know. Now here, then what was the solution, I was talking here about, like as I said that in fact, like coming to this ready-made services, we used to have something, the let's say you have to run anything, okay, so you will take one server, and on the server you will be putting the all the necessary softwares, and that's how you will be managing your database. Okay, so that was the way with which you were managing your database. But now the things has been like, like now the things are completely different. So here we have some of the ready-made solutions available like RDS. And what this RDS is basically services. Basically, it is having the full form as relational database service. Okay. Or in fact, yesterday I just talked about one document. Within that document, I have this particular service. So this is the Amazon service, RD service we have. So let's talk about it. Okay. Now, as a database administrator, okay, now this is the one of the the way we work, okay. So we are a DevOps engineer. So there is also one position called as DB admin, okay, database admin. So these are the activities, challenges they have as a database admin. Okay, these are the problems they have to do on a daily basis. So let's say somebody is asking for a database, then they have to install the different softwares, required software, right? Here I was talking about that on the server, on top of the server, you can also install the software by yourself. So that's something here we have. Then we have to do the patching. Okay, patching means what? Like on like after each some time, the new patches will get released for your database, and now those are either could be the enhancing the features of your database, or those are related to the security. So that's the reason here they also have to take care of the patching. Okay, after some time they also have to install the patches. Then we have to monitor the database. Okay, so if something goes wrong, here we have to manually set up few of the monitoring tools which can monitor your database, and if it goes down or something, okay, which we want to have some alerting and all. Then we have a performance tuning. So let's say your application is not behaving as expected, and because of you're facing some database throttle or something, okay, like in which you require a more bandwidth, but you don't have that much, okay. So such things you have to consider, and you need to set up the performance tuning, okay. Then you have to take the time to time backups, that whenever you are creating database, so you need to take the time to time backups you have to take care of. As your things grow, okay, database scaling has to you have to do. So earlier you consider, let's say, the 100 GB of database, okay, 100 GB of machine for having a database. Now database is just keep growing, okay, so you need to consider bigger machine. You also have to take care of the security part, because that's a very very important part you have. So, you are going to keep your database in the private subnet, and there are a lot of things. Okay, so you have to take care of all of those stuff. You never want that your security should get compromised in case of your database. Okay, because this is the place where you are keeping your all the customer data. Okay, and you might have heard about the incidents over a period of time that XYZ's company's data got leak and all, right? So this is what the security thinks that all the organization has to consider, because that's what the hacker wants actually. Okay, a data of all the people, and if we get it freely, so they can just sell this data on a dark web, like so that's what the security is. Okay, security is a major concern that they have to take care of. Then hardware upgrade. Okay, over a period of time, you guys also know that, let's say if you purchase any laptop, so let's say after 4 to 5 years, it might happen that the hardware of your laptop becomes older, and you will need, or you just want to have a bigger hardware, right? So that's what the challenge again here we have. So let's say even if we do the hardware purchase, and after that, after over a period of time, we might require something bigger hardware. And again, storage management, again, we have to take care of about your database. So keep updating the storages, analyzing how much is filled, and all of these challenges we have, right? So here it's like a bunch of big list we just have in front of us about your database admin. Okay, now that's not challenges to us, but this is the challenges of your database admin. Now to him, we are going to provide one solution. Okay, to him, we are going to provide one solution, that whatever the things here I have just spoken just now, okay, you guys don't have to worry about that. So instead, we can go and use the AWS RDS service. That is a relational database service. Now, what is meant by relational database service? It's basically you see that any of the position that you pick up in the Excel, so which is having one row and column. Okay, so that's a relation you have. Okay, that's a relation you have. So that's how the data gets stored, and that's the reason we call those databases as a relational database. So in real time, we have two types of databases. Okay, one is that we have something the relational database, and one is something we call as a non-relational database. Okay, in relational database, we have something like a Excel like format, in which we have the rows and columns, and each of the field, like here you say the first name and the customer identity, right? So that's how I'll get the first name of that person. Okay, so that's my relational databases. Okay, and no relational database means that basically that data is simply there's no relation as such. Okay, now if I give example, it could be something like, let's say, you have the data of one person, but you don't want to put into Excel format. Okay, just a normal data. Okay, if I give you example, let's say you're ordering something from Zomato. Okay, now there's something, the order ID gets generated, and so maybe Zomato is going to store that order in this way, that your name and that order of your order, whatever like order you made, and order ID. Okay, something like that. So it is not going to put probably in a relational database. So each database has their advantage. Okay, like you can use either anyone. Now relational database is a traditional one. Okay, since very long time we are using this relational database. Now but nowadays also we have the the NoSQL database, where things are straightforward, that just information and what is the value for that. Okay, key value, where in the format we have the database. So that's a other type of database we have. So RDS is dealing with the RDS, that is the relational database services, that what you have. So, and most of the databases we have here. Okay, like a MySQL, PostgreSQL. Okay, so most of the database here we have with the relational database. So I'll show you ahead that in a demo that how exactly this works. Okay, so that's one thing here you need to understand. And here, as I mentioned, that these many activities we have here as a database administrator challenges we have. So instead of that, we can use the AWS manage, okay, RDS service. So this is the AWS service, AWS manage RDS service, and this particular service can do all of the things automatically for you. Okay, so you don't have to do anything manual here, installing, patching, or anything. You don't have to do any single thing here. Everything will be taken care by the AWS itself. Okay, so this is what the AWS RD service is. And here let's read a few of the theory. So RDS is a managed database service provided by AWS that simplifies the process of setting up, operating, and scaling relational database in the cloud. Okay, so everything is going to happen in a cloud. RDS support a range of popular relational database engines, including Amazon Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. Okay. Now these are the most popular server, database engines we have, and all of them are included by the AWS itself. Okay, so AWS has also created its own, database. So the way we have the MySQL database, AWS also has created its own database, which is the Amazon Aurora. Okay, so that's what the name it has given, and I'll also talk about this particular database ahead in the demo. So these are the examples we have, and all of this will work on your, like, this all database you can create on your RDS platform. Then RDS automate many of the time-consuming tasks associated with the database administrator. Okay, such as hardware provisioning, software patching, and database backup. Okay, so you just tell that what machine with which you would like to create your database, and your database will get created. Okay, so overall what happened behind the scene, I'll tell you. So you guys are well aware about the EC2 service. Okay, EC2 service is nothing but it's a server that you create, and RDS database is nothing but it is also server. Okay, it is also server, but it is a database server. So it is also server, but here AWS will install the things for you, and AWS itself is going to manage the things for you. So it is having very similarity like your database, because it is a server. Okay, it is a server, but the thing is that you don't log in here. Okay, the way you do it here inside your EC2 machine, you log into EC2 and you do a lot of stuff here. But in RDS you don't log in, because RDS service is completely managed by the AWS. Okay, so you don't have to do SH here and handle the things. Everything will be done by AWS, and then AWS is going to provide you this particular service, and automatic provisioning and everything will be done by this particular AWS RDS. So let's go ahead and do it now. Further things. So RDS automates many of the time consuming tasks. That's what we read just now. Now RDS provide automatic software patching for database engine. Okay, now here this patching activity will be done automatically. So you don't have to put any single efforts there. Okay, in ensuring that database is always up to date with the latest security patches and bug fixes. Okay, RDs allow you to easily scale your database up or down based on your performance needs and using features such as read replicas and a multi-AZ deployment. Now that's something again we have a requirement as a read replica. Now what is meant by read replica? Now this is a important terminology here we have. So you can imagine that whenever you are accessing any application. So let me give example. Let's say you have a one RDS database, okay, and here you have one application inside your EC2. So this application is connecting here for each and everything like whatever you are asking. So here you are sitting, okay, on your laptop you are accessing data. So you simply just connect to your EC2 server. Behind the scene, EC2 application is going to connect to RDS and it is going to fetch the data, and then that's how you will receive the response here. So this is the way that the usual workflow happens. So here in most of the cases, okay, in most of the cases, that what is your activities, okay, let's understand that. So let's say that I'm having some dynamic website and I just want to keep changing my data, or there are a lot of things that comes dynamically on my website. So let's say you are accessing any of the banking website, okay, so you log into the portal. Now you want to see your balance, or let's say you just want to see some transactions of yours, okay. Now what you do, you click here on transactions, and then that's how the query will get sent to your EC2 server, and then now EC2 application will require the data of the transaction, okay. So in database, RDS database, we have the things stored, okay, so it will get downloaded by this application and will along with that HTML boxes, okay, we will get that data, and here on the users we should be able to, all the HTML data will get downloaded here, and then that's how your user is going to see the things. So if you have understood what has happened, the operation here, so it is a read operation, okay, it is a read operation. So this particular person is reading the database here. So as a database we have a lot of data there. So this particular person is reading his transactions or reading his the account balance or anything. So all of those things are happening here, and that's it. That's what is happening here, right? The read activity. So what happened that in general, whenever people are accessing the application, in most of the cases, okay, they do a read operation a lot. They do a read operation a lot. In read operation, what we do is we simply download the data and we are reading the data. We are simply downloading the data and we are reading the data. On the other side, I gave you an example here. Let's say here we are submitting any form from your user. Okay, so let's say contact us is the form we have. So we fill some data and we just click on submit. So in this case, we are putting some data inside the database. Okay, now that's a opposite activity of what we did here. Okay, so we write the data in that case. Okay, we write the data, so or we update the database. So that's what we do in case of database. So these are the two major activity we have, but again within that, all the time, like almost 90% of the time, we are just reading the data. You yourself just think about that. You open the application, you scroll it, okay, you close it, okay, you open any website, you scroll it, okay, you open a number of website link, okay, you read it and you close it, right? So you just keep doing this activity again and again. So read is something that we do a lot, okay, almost 90% of the time we are just like doing the reading. Write is something we do it rare, okay, like how many times you are submitting the form or you are giving some input from your end to the website. Okay, so very little, right? So that's what the write or update operation we have here. So that's the reason here, if you want to increase the performance of your application, so we have some solution called as creating the read replicas. So just have one primary database. Okay, just have one primary database, and here this read replicas are nothing but is going to get replicated. Okay, so read replicas are nothing but it will get replicated. So here, the read replicas will get, so this read replicas are nothing but the replicas of your main database. Okay, so here this is the primary database, and this will get replicated here in the read replica form. And whenever application wants to connect to just for read activity, so it is not going to disturb your main database server. It is just going to connect with your read replicas. Okay, so this is what the read replicas concept is. So if you have the multiple read replicas, so that can save burden of your main database, and your performance can be increased this way. So this is the concept of the read replica we have. And we have one more concept called as multi-AZ deployment. It's basically, the high availability is something that we are looking for. So you are going to put your database in multiple AZ availability zones. So that's what the multi-AZ deployment means. Now, next thing is RDS support a range of security features, okay, including encryption, at rest, and transit, okay, network isolation, that you can keep your database in a virtual private cloud, okay, VPC, and access through the IAM. Okay, so that's something you can do. So then further you can just monitor it with the like lot of capabilities such as CloudWatch. Okay, you can take the automatic backups. Then you can have the database logs that you can troubleshoot. While doing troubleshooting, that can help you. So variety of the features you get it here in terms of when you're creating the things with the AWS RDS service. RDS integrate with the other services such as AWS Lambda, CloudFormation, Amazon S3, okay, allowing you to build a scalable, flexible application that rely on the reliable database backend. Okay, so overall, the other services also can integrate with this RDS, and RDS provides you the pay-as-you-go pricing model, allowing you to only pay for the resources you use. Okay, this is something you guys already know. So let's say you are creating a database that requires some machine. Okay, certain machine you require. So for how much time you are using that machine, okay, only for that you will get charged. So that's how the RDS works. Okay, so this is about all the theory that I wanted to share with you with respect to RDS. Then further, now we are going to create the RDS, the uh, service. Okay, so any question guys you have here so far, anything you want to ask?
Amol, one question. Do we have any endpoints access for read replicas, or by just creating it, we can access it? Like, what would be the flow to access read replicas? Do we define it
uh,
somewhere?
no, actually. Okay, so that's the application logic we have. Now read replicas will get created as a just part of your single database. Okay, so whenever a operation is coming as a read, okay, so all the read replicas will support there, and it's just a random thing. Okay, like in fact, like which read replica will take in a part into the activity. And so that just like with a single endpoint you actually connect. But in case of multi-AZ, I think there is something concept. Okay, I'm not exactly sure about it. I might have to search and then I can answer you on this question. Okay, I'll just note it down. So about read replicas, do we have the other endpoints, right? So I'll just confirm this thing tomorrow. Will it be fine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, as such, you don't require anything. Okay, as far as I know, but I still need to confirm it once.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amul, can you once again say about read replicas?
So read replica is this, the kind of feature that RDS, service offers to you. And now what that feature is basically, in most of the cases that we do a lot of reading the data. Okay, means that so when I create the primary database, okay, as a primary database, when we create it, so of course primary database is going to respond you for both activities. One is going to be your read operation, other is going to be your private operations. Sorry, one is going to be your read operation and other is going to be the write operation. So both of the activities is going to be provide you. So but in case, as I mentioned, that most of the cases we are dealing with the read activity. So that's the reason we have a solution here, that we should not just keep involving your main RDS instance into your read actions. Okay, so if you have something read, then just here we have a read replica that we are creating. So as soon as you have made some changes here inside your RDS database, so what happened, the database will get synced automatically behind the scene. Whatever you have here, so that thing will get replicated in all the read replicas, and whoever wants to connect, okay, as just for read activity, so those will get connected to the read replicas without disturbing your main RDS database. So we are just taking the burden of your main RDS on the other EC2 servers. So that's what the read replica concept is.
We have to create the read replica, or AWS it will only create the read replicas.
No, if we want to have a read replica, we have to tell to AWS that you want to have it, because that's extra pricing also you have to pay for it. Okay.
If our data is increasing, then read replicas count will also scale up.
Yeah, that provisioning we can made. So that automatic the load handling that can be done by the AWS itself, but yes, we can increase the count at any time. Okay, after creation also we can just keep adding the number of read replicas, so that's something we can do.
Amul, the main thing is to reduce the load on the main database, we are creating read replicas, right?
Correct. So
Okay, Amul.
like most of the time we are doing the read operation, so just we just require read replicas. In that case, the main database don't have to think about, or don't have to take a part in the traffic.
Okay, Amul.
Yes, fine guys. So the next thing here, we are going to do what? We are going to create a RDS database. Now let me tell you a demo here. Okay, we are going to see a demo, and there, so we also have something called as free tier. Okay, but let me tell you that once your demo is done, you just simply delete your database, even though it is you are creating it in a free tier. Okay, because in database there are a lot of other uh, the charges are hidden, which are going to charge you. Okay, so it's not just your DB instance that takes that will just charge you, but some network cost, and there are a lot of things that comes into the picture. So once your demo is done, it would be good that if you're done with understanding of the database, you can simply delete your database. Okay, fine. So here, okay, I'm also referring here. Yes.
One question, sorry. The backup which you were mentioning, is it the snapshot backups or the something else, Aman?
Yes, it is a snapshot backup. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So again, this snapshot part will be taken care by the AWS itself. Okay, and this is for our own good purpose, that AWS will take care of the snapshot and everything. but of course the storage, okay, like as it is storing the extra stuff. Let's say we have created 10 GB of here we have a 10 GB of data, so a 10 GB of snapshot will get created, but again for that we have to pay a price. Okay, so that's something you just keep in mind, and that's the reason I said that once your database creation is like done, you should be good with deleting the things. Okay, so let me go and like here this is what the RDS activity we have the database we have. Then further you'll click on the DB instances. Okay, now here in today's session we are going to create a database. That's what the activity here we are doing. By ensure that if you have stored the backup in the S3 bucket, you can restore it from S3. Let's create one. So just click on the create database. Now here we have the two options. One is a standard create and other is a easy create. Okay, now easy create is basically going to hide you a few of the options, and standard create is basically going to show you all the options, that whatever possible options that activity has. Okay, so easy creation is just like hardly show you very few options with which you will feel it's easy to create database, so you can choose this one also. Let me stick with the standard create because I have to tell you what all the other options we have. So let's go ahead. So here you can see the engine option we have, right? So now that's something you have to pre-decide that with which engine you have to create your database. Okay, so here you have choices to choose your database. So you have the Aurora, you have Postgres, okay, you have MySQL, you have MariaDB, you have the PostgreSQL and Oracle, Microsoft, and this is the IBM. Okay, so these are the engine choices you have. Now, you know the MySQL is something a very well-known, most popular, widely used database we have, and this is the enterprise edition of MySQL, and MariaDB is the community-based version of the same database. Okay, so you can just think of creating any database. Okay, MySQL or MariaDB, both are same. Okay, in terms of handling them, both are same. So MariaDB is just a community version. Okay, or here you can just choose the MySQL also. You can see the MySQL is the most popular open source database we have. Then what are these Aurora options we have? Okay, let's talk about that as well, because here you see is written as the MySQL compatible. Okay, now what is this Aurora is? Basically, you can create the enterprise class MySQL compatible database. Okay, you can create the way you are creating MySQL database, you can create the Aurora also. And the performance of this MySQL database is going to be 5 times faster than your MySQL database. That's what it is claiming. The performance of this MySQL, Aurora MySQL, is going to be the 5 times instead of your MySQL, normal MySQL. And yes, here you get these are the basic features up to 120 terabyte, 128 terabyte auto scaling features, 6-way replication. Okay, across 3 availability zone, and up to 15 read replicas you get with replica lag under the 10 millisecond, and automatic monitoring with the failure. So these are the advantage you get. So then why we are still not going with the MySQL, Aurora, is the only reason the costing. Okay, so this particular database is created by the Aurora, I mean the AWS team, and they have given this new name, that is Aurora. Okay, so all the way you are working like a MySQL queries and everything, that should work here. Okay, on MySQL also it should work. Performance wise, yes, it is going to be the higher than your MySQL database, normal one. But again, the costing of your database is going to be really high. So this is the reason that it's again like the organization has to think about the costing also. Okay, so this is what the reason you have. So MySQL is 5 times here faster, Aurora. PostgreSQL it's 3 times faster. Okay, so that's what it is claiming. But again, it's depending on the organization to organization which one to go with. So if organization is ready to they put the costing, then they can just go ahead and do the things. Okay, but yes, we'll stick here with the MySQL, and let's go ahead and do the further things. Also, you can just use the MariaDB, which is same. Okay, In fact, I've seen many of the organizations are using MariaDB because that's a community edition. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. So that's a MySQL, the option I've chosen. So rest of the things I'll get with respect to MySQL. Then here we have one option called as the multi-AZ DB cluster. Okay, now multi-AZ means what? In multiple AZ, that's the availability zones, you will have the primary and the two readable standby database you'll get. Okay, so that's what the multi-AZ option you have. Now, of course, guys, here if I'm selecting any extra option, so for that the extra pricing is also going to is associated. Okay, so when you select this option, so you can see here one primary and two readable, right? So in total, 3 instances pricing I have to pay. So multi-AZ is just, of course, for availability, high availability. So if your primary database goes down, you will still have the two standby databases. Okay, so those will comes into the like picture, and now that failover will happen automatically. Okay, so if your primary goes down and it is not responding, so the failover activity will happen automatically, and your standby database will comes into the picture. But one thing to note down here in this architecture where we are talking about the multiple AZ DB cluster, only the primary database taking is into the service. Okay, what I mean to say is that you set up the multi-AZ. Okay, multi-AZ. So multi-AZ means that you have a primary database and you have the standby database. Okay, now standby means what? They are just standby. Okay, like here they will not take into the consideration for forwarding traffic or replying to anyone. Here, whatever the is happening in the primary database, the sync will happen. Okay, the sync will happen, that whatever here we are putting, so that data will get synced here, but they will not comes into the picture. Okay, until unless something goes wrong with the primary database. So that this is the concept of your multi-AZ deployment, and primary is only going to reply to your all the queries. So that's what the multi-AZ is. So again, if your application is critical, okay, in that case, of course, you should go with the multi-AZ deployment. Then this is about the version you have. Okay, the next thing you have, this is a version. Okay, now you see a version. If I just click on this version, okay, you can see the MySQL 5.7, and after that we have directly 8. Version, because MySQL 5.7 is something the very the popular version we have. So all of the older application you can see they're still using this particular version, and that's the reason the MySQL hasn't removed them. And the latest version we have, that is in the 8. Series. So you can go with the latest one, but of course depending on your application requirement. So if they are still you have some older code base, okay, so in that case you should be using the older version here. So I'll just choose the older version here, and I'll go ahead. Now there's something, we have the warning that there are few engines which doesn't support this particular engine version. Further, here I have templates. Okay, now these templates can make the things easy for you to understand it. While creating the database, you can go with this 3 of the use cases. One is the production. Okay, in production, what you are expecting? You're expecting high availability, fast and consistent performance. Okay, so you don't worry about the costing. You simply create the things in the way you want. Dev and test. Okay, here still you'll take care of the cost part, because you're creating the infrastructure in the dev environment or the testing environment. So compared to your production, this is going to be a smaller one. So as for that, the options will get grayed out and something like that. Third option is that you have a free tier. So if you don't want a single rupees bill, in that case you can go with this. Okay, but still don't become like happy because you won't get any bill. It's not like that. It's completely true. Just do remember that overall the storage, we have a 30 GB per month. It's something the free we have. But in case of database, it is going to take a backup, and that backup is going to cost you. Okay, so make sure that and then in such case you might be having some EC2 machine already running. So it's its own backup, its own EBS volume, and this. Okay, so that is going to cost you. In fact, over a period of time, I just forget to delete the RDS database, and I just get a bill for that RDS database. Okay, this happened a lot of times. So just, and then from that experience only, I'm telling you, just do remember to delete your RDS database. Okay, once your practice is done. So I'm choosing here the free tier. Okay, and let's go ahead and understand. So as here, if you see that, if I click the production, these options, okay, multi-AZ and all these options, it just grayed out in case of the free tier. So that's what this option is. As per your choice, you can go and choose the deployment option. So right now I'm going with the free tier. So you can see here deployment option. So multi-AZ is something that just got disabled for us. Okay. Further here we have one setting option, and in this we need to provide a database name, that whatever a name you would like to provide to your database. So this is just a identification. Okay, for identification, this is the identifier we have, and this is within your account what database name you would like to give. That's your choice. Then further, whenever we are creating the MySQL database, so we need to provide a username to that database. Okay, because while connecting to your database, providing the username and password is something the mandatory thing we have. Without that, you won't be able to connect to your database. And now it's up to you that what username you'd like to keep and what password you'd like to keep. But while creating the database itself, you need to provide those details, and the same details you will be providing it to your developer. Okay, because he is going to put some connection logic inside his code. So within that, while he's writing the connection logic, okay, he just need to mention that username and password. Okay, so whatever the username and password you are selecting, so just provide it to the developer, or provide ask to developer like what the credentials he wants to keep it, because he's going to store those credentials at some place. Okay, so admin is good. Okay, like we will just go with the admin username, and we will go further. So here we have the other option, that is the credential. Okay, here you're managing your credentials by your own. So that's what the we have one more service called as secret manager. So via that also you can handle your credentials, but let it be. Here is admin user, and you need to provide some password. Okay, let's provide some password. So password here you need to provide. So I'm providing some password, and I'll tell you. Okay, because that's something will not get exposed anyway. So let me here I'll provide something, or let it be, I'll just provide some password. But just do remember what password you are providing. Okay, because this is the same password with which you are going to connect to your RDs. Okay, so if you forgot the password, then you won't be able to connect. Okay, and then at first case, yes, there are recovery options, but don't go into that. Just simply remember the password. Then we have here the DB instance, and which one to go with. Okay, now DB instance is nothing but how big or small database you are creating, right? So this is the same thing that what you choose, the T2 micro machine in case of EC2. So here also you have a choices. Now only because here we have selected the free tier option. Okay, you just have, this is the only option you have, which is a DB T3 micro. But in real time, of course, you can keep scrolling this list, and you can choose as per your choice. Okay, whatever database you wish to have. So depending on your use case, so in our case, we are just having this db.t3 micro. Further, the storage you require, right? Like storage, that's a EVS volume you are attaching it. Now, which storage you want to have? So let's say your workload is something input output in the like that. So you can just choose that one. So let's say here you have something the input output rate you just want to have more. You can choose IO1, IO2 like that, or you can just stay with the general type of storage also. How much storage you want? You can you're selecting the 20 GB as a minimum value. Okay, so that's what the minimum value you are setting up, and automatically your database is going to increase. Okay, so here you have that option, that storage auto scaling. So let's say you are initially you are creating the database with the 20 GB, and there is a database increasing, it's just happening behind the scene. So AWS is going to auto scale that automatically, and a maximum threshold you can select here, that's stored here as like 1000 GB. So like over a period of time, it can reach up to maximum to the 1000 GB. Still, if it is have a requirement, then it will not grow. Okay, you need to increase this capacity. Okay, without that it is not going to increase that. Okay, if you don't want auto scaling, just remove this tick mark, and auto scaling will not happen. And how billing will get create, like charges will be placed. So let's say over a period of time, the average storage that what you utilize is, let's say, the 100 GB, and so you'll get just charged for that 100 GB. Okay, so that's the reason here I mentioned the pay as you go model. Okay, fine. So this is about your database, the instance type and the storage. Next thing you have here, the connectivity. Now, of course, you are going to place one application, and like you are going to place one application, and that application is going to connect your RDS database. So like overall, what happened in general use case is that you have one EC2 server. Okay, within the EC2 you have the application running, and this application is going to connect to your RDS database. Okay, here is a database you have, that's a DB, and whatever that application requires, so it is going to connect to this DB, and that's how you receive the data. Okay, so that's one thing you have here. Now, if you want to make the connectivity at right now, like let's say you have one EC2 server which is running, and for which you just want to connect your EC2 server, you can do that right now. Okay, but that's not the way we do in real time. Okay, like we just tell to developer that later you just do this activity. So let's do it that way. I'll show you how to do the connectivity, but let's wait for some time. Okay, we will do it manually. Let's not go with this way. IPv4 is something that we will have to our database. In which VPC you want to create, so you can decide your VPC. You can something default VPC we have, so let's go with the default VPC. And of course here we have the warning that once you have created VPC, you can change the VPC. Correct? Great.
Amol,
Yes.
above we have dual stack like that, no? Dual
Yes.
stack mode. What does that mean?
So if you want to have the IPv4 and IPv6 both to your database, so you can choose this option. Okay, so we have two of the options available. Okay.
IPv4 is for connecting from publicly that we will be used. IPv6 is for
No.
own.
Okay,
Uh,
both. Okay, let me explain to you. IPv4 and IPv6. So this is the type of IPs we have. So uh, like before going and talking about the private and the public IP, on the high overview level, you need to choose whether you want to go with the IPv4 or IPv6. So IPv4, you are well about that, something, the digit you have separated by the dots. So let's say 120.50 1.1.2. This is how the IPv4 look like. IPv6 is something the bigger version of your IPv4. Okay, so it comes with the 128 byte. Okay, your IPv4 comes with the 8888, that is a 32 bit. Okay, so it is a 32 bit, and IPv6 comes here with the 128 byte, 128 bit. Okay, now so this particular IPv6 is going to be really bigger in size. Bigger in size in the sense that we are so that's how your IPv6 look like. And also you have one more thing here, that whenever you see this values, okay, so it comes with some ASCII value. Okay, like it will vary from 0 1 2 3 to 16. Okay, then after that, like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and after that it starts with the ABCD like that. Okay, so each of the field is going to be with the 16 bits, and that's how you have a 128 bits IP address created. Now that's a updated version of the IPv4. And why we have this IPv6, like why we are using it. So let me show you. Let's say if I confirm what is my IP. Okay, now that depends. Okay, so in today's I'm sitting at somewhere else. Okay, not my usual location. So here I just have the IPv4 address. Okay, but I could have shown you that. So in your case, you might check it. Okay, all the people. So here in IPv6, you sometimes you should be able to see the entry. Okay, now why you have that IPv6? So we are in shortage of the IPv4. Okay, we are having the IPv4 shortage because the maximum possibility of the IPv4 IPs can be, it's a 7 billion. Okay, now we still able to use the IPv4 address because of the logic that private IP and the public IP. So for all the internal usage, we are using the private IP, and for outside communication purpose, we are using the public IP. So if I give example, let's say right now, in each of the family members, you all have the mobile devices, laptops. So you all are using the private IP, but for connecting to internet, okay, you are using the public IP, one single public IP. So per family, you might be just assume that you're using the one public IP. But over a period of time, what happened that the population grows, and of course we have a multiple devices, right? So we are using the servers and like n number of things we are running. So of course there is a IPv4 shortage we have. So that's the reason here we need to create a bigger the size of the IP pool, and which is the now 128 build. So like this is something really big. Okay, so there's no near possibility with which we're going to consume this all the IPv6 IP address. So this is the newer version of the IPv4. You get the point?
Yes, Amar.
So
So we
that's a,
have, if we select both also, there won't be any issue for us, right? Then,
yes,
if we,
you can choose
yes.
that. Okay, yes, it is just a sometimes people just hesitate to use the IPv6. That's the reason this option we have here. Okay,
Okay, Amal. Okay, got it, Amal.
yeah. Then we have here the virtual private, the cloud, and here you're supposed to create a VPC, which is your, where your application is going to be. Okay, so you need to identify your EC2 machines in which VPC they are going to reside. So accordingly, you will be choosing your VPC also. It is not going to happen that you have the RDS database in one VPC and your EC2 machine is some other VPC. Okay, they both have to be in same VPC, of course, right? You understand this thing well. Okay, uh, then further you have here the subnet group. Now subnet group is basically uh, you know defines which subnet and IP ranges of the DB instance can be used in VPC that you selected. Okay, so you can create your own subnet group also. Now that's something outside of this VPC you have, outside of your database you get that option. And it just like in which subnets, okay, like you have, let's say in default VPC you have a 3 subnets, right? So that default subnet group will have all those 3 subnets. Okay, so you can create your own subnet group in which subnet you would like to launch your EC2 or launch this DB database. Okay, database where you would like to launch. So you can create your own. So right now I'm just selecting the default one. If you want to create a separate one, so first of all you should be creating a database subnet group. Like, if you go back, so there we have option to create subnet group. You can create your subnet group and then you can mention that one here. So for default VPC, it's a default subnet we have. So let's go with that. Then further, this is a very important option, guys. Public access. Okay. So do you want your database to be publicly available, like the endpoint connection? So if you say yes, then RDS is going to assign the public IP address to your database. And outside of your VPC also, you can connect to your database. So that's what the idea is. But in real time, of course, we always choose no. See, you cannot compromise with the security of your database. Okay, so whatever your architecture is, so you just want to keep always your database to be a private one, and that's the reason RDS is not going to, we are not going to put any public IP address. That's something we want. Okay, so your RDS database is not going to be available outside of your VPC. So please make a note of it. Then here you have a security group firewall. Again, that's something, the important option we have here, that you wish to connect to your database. Okay, so this security group is nothing but the way we have it for EC2 machine, right? So before this EC2 server connecting to your RDS, here you have a security group. So best practice suggests that whenever you are connecting from this EC2 machine, so take a note of private IP of this EC2 machine, and this IP address here you are going to add it to the security group. So that's what the best practice suggests. So here I can say create new okay, you can provide some security group name. Let's say it's a DB security group. Okay, I'm just mentioning the MySQL. Okay, now MySQL has some one particular port. Okay, now in which easy you would like to create that security group. Okay, I'm just like not giving any preference. So in default VPC, at any place this security group will get created. So let it be. Or best practice is that let's create a security group later and just add it. Okay, so right now I'm just like saying DB SQ MySQL, and let's go ahead. Now that's one more option. If you have, this is a RDS proxy. Now this is a little bit advanced option, but I'll still try to explain to you guys. Okay, RDS proxy is a fully managed, highly available database proxy that improves the application scalability, resilience, and security. So basically, this is something related to the performance of the RDS database. So the connectivity wise, if you create RDS proxy, so you should be able to connect it faster. Okay, RDS proxy is basically going to provide you the feature to connect to your RDS database faster, so that can improve the performance. Okay, but again here there's going to be some additional cost for it. So it's up to you that whether you would like to go with this RDS proxy or not. Okay, so whatever the pricing you're paying for RDS, plus for RDS proxy you have to pay some extra cost. So that's what the feature we have. So you just have to tick mark this. Okay, there's nothing else you have to do as per that, but it just performance wise, if you want to have more, you can just click on the RDS proxy option. Then we have this certificate. Okay, so you're while connecting to your database, so that's something certificate is again optional thing, and let it be by default whatever it is. Anything we have additional. Okay, so that's a by default port number for your database. Okay, now MySQL database port is something, the well-known port number. It is a 3306, or if you're not aware about it, you can always search about it, like MySQL default port. You can see, right? It's a 3306. So that's a port number here we have for your database. And finally, the password based authentication we will have monitoring. Okay, now whenever you are connecting your database. So if you want to have the munting, and which will, the by default matrix is something like a network in, network out, read, write. Okay, so all these operations you can just capture in the CloudWatch service. So you just need to tick mark this option, and you can have those, the option. Now here you have one database option. Okay, so like at this moment itself, you want to have a database creation. Okay, like I mean, you are creating the RDS instance. Okay, now within this RDS instance, do you wish to have a database name and all of these things by default? So you can just choose here, and this database will get created inside your once your RDS is ready. Inside that, you also get the database itself. So that's the option you have, but let it be. So whoever is your database admin, he will take care of that. Okay, so you don't have to worry about this part, about data, how to create database and everything. You can just ignore this all the part. Okay, additional configuration, you can just ignore it. So that's not something should bothering you. Now of course we have chosen here the free tier. Okay, you can see that this is going to be the estimated charges you might have to pay if you are not using the free tier, right? Fine. So yes, this is something you can see. Now just look at this. Okay, 20 GB or for automated backup storage. Okay, so you will be choosing something the free tier, but apart from that, if you're choosing any instance bigger than that, then of course this is something you have a free, but 20 GB it is something, it doesn't come as free. Okay, so please note that. And now you can go and say create database. So you might have felt a little overwhelmed by just looking at the different options here we have, but frankly speaking, you just have to go with the flow. Okay, let me repeat one more time. Just click on standard create MySQL. Here version I have selected little older one. That's up to you that which one to select. Free tier. Now database name I have just kept the by default whatever I'm getting. Password is admin. The password here I've selected as per my choice. DB instance, which is again by default selected. 20 GB I have kept the same. Auto scaling is enabled. Connectivity, I don't want to connect to any of this. Okay, then I have selected no public access. Security group is something I have created, or if you don't want, okay, just select as choose existing. Okay, that is also not a problem. Anything happened with the password? No. Okay, so here it's up to you. Okay, I'm just choosing default security. We'll change, like choose it later. Let's choose one. My bad. Okay, here I'm selecting, and in which AZ you would like to create your database, because you are going to create a single instance. So here you are selecting no preference. So in 3 AZ you have 1A, 1B, 1C. So among them you can just choose any one as per your choice. So it's up to you in which AZ you would like to create it. Okay, so you choose here DB, I mean VPC, and here you're choosing the AZ. Fine. Next thing is that yes, you're good, right? Everything you're good with, and finally you can say create database. Okay, I'm missing out any of the option here. Selecting this option. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what this option is. Basically, this particular option, the 5.7.44, is something the older option. Okay, older version. Now, if I wish to go and choose the little, the older version. Okay, now this is something the AWS has started with almost each and every service. Earlier, this option wasn't there. Okay. Now, what this option is suggesting you basically that if you're choosing the older MySQL engine, in that case, you need to tick this option. And what this option is, AWS is going to provide you the support for your older version application, but in that case AWS is going to charge you extra for that. Okay, so you can read here, Amazon RDS extended support is paid offering, that they are going to provide you the support for the older version also, but in that case they are going to charge you extra for this. Okay, if you're choosing the latest version, like let's say this one, okay, in that case you can go without choosing this option. Okay, now it's up to you guys that whether you would like to go with the older version or newer version. But you know, this thing will be more dependent on your application. So if your application doesn't support the latest version, then in that case you still have to go with the older version, and in that case you need to choose this option. You know, possibility you have to pay some extra cost for it. So this option is all about. Fine, okay, I'm just ignoring that option right now, and I'll go ahead and say create database. So let's wait for some time. Okay, till that time anyone has any question they can ask. Database creation is going to take some time. So any questions, guys? Any of the questions here you have till the time? No questions? Everything is good? Okay, fine. So till the time we will do the further thing. Okay, guys, here I just showed you database creation activity. And as I already mentioned, as a DevOps engineer, you should be knowing how to create database. How to work inside, that something is not your job. So you can be relaxed with that fact. But here as a demo purpose, we will do something. Okay, what we will do is that we will create one EC2 machine. Okay, we will create one EC2 machine, and here we have created a RDS database. So we'll just make the connection between these two. Okay, like from your EC2 machine, you should be able to connect to your database. So that's something here we will do. So let's go ahead and do that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. So I'm gonna create here one EC2 machine. So I'll go to search engine here. I mean EC2 server, and quickly we'll create one EC2 instance. In instance is running. Here I'll say launch instance. Let's say it's a DB demo. Ubuntu is the operating system I'm choosing. You choose anything. Okay. T2 micro is good. Key pair. Okay, I don't have a key pair. So I'll create a new key pair. Okay, because this is the Sushila's account, right? So I'll create a new key pair here. So let me select key pair. Let's say it's a DB demo. And yeah, I'll say create a key pair. So I have downloaded that key pair in my downloads folder. VPC I'm just keeping default one because just to let you know, guys, that in case of like you have created EC2 machine, so that EC2 machine, you have created database, and that database is also in the default VPC. So I'll just go with the default EC2 instance as well, because outside your VPC you have not exposed your database. So fine, here I'll go 8 GB and everything good looks, and here I'll go and say launch instance. So let your instance be in a running now. So let's confirm. So yes, we have this machine running, and now I'll take the public IP and I will log into this machine. Okay, so sh-i, then we have something db demo as key, Ubuntu as username and the public IP of your EC2. Say yes. Now here the next thing what we have to do is basically you have to connect to your EC2 machine, and within within the your EC2 or like EC2 and RDS database belongs to same VPC, so they should be able to communicate directly. And if I go and check the database, is my database is ready? So let's confirm. So here I'll refresh it. Yes, looks like it is connected. It's ready. Okay, but see here. Okay, guys, that a database is in a backing up mode. Okay, so as soon as your database got created, so first of all, the backup will happen. It got created in 1C AZ. This is the instance type we have. This is CPU utilization. Okay, there's currently 0 connections we have. So this is what something extra information we have. And if I click on here, you should get a endpoint. Okay, so that's my endpoint we have here. So this particular endpoint, with this particular endpoint, I should be able to connect it from my EC2 machine. Now here you should be knowing little bit about your the how to connect to your EC2. So there we require something called as MySQL client software. Okay, like you have to connect to your database. So from any of your machine, okay, now that software just varies, okay, depending on what operating system you're using. But we usually call this as a MySQL client software. So if I talk about Ubuntu, we have something called as MySQL client. The name of the software is. On Windows, we have so many different UI softwares also available. So here I need something, the software that will connect or that will help me to connect to or form a connection between this EC2 machine and that RDS database. So how to do it? Here I'll require a MySQL client software. Of course, I can Google it. Okay, like how to connect. If I Google, I should get the response. Like I should get article and all that. Okay. So whatever the knowledge I have, I'll just go with that. Right now, I'll just need to update this repository first. So I'll say apt-get update. That's the first thing I'll say. And then I require something called as MySQL client. Okay, that is a package name we have. So I need to install that. So after that, okay, I'll say apt-get install MySQL client. Okay, now this is a very well-known thing. Okay, if you just Google it, how to connect, so you should get this MySQL client software recommendation that you should have the MySQL client. Okay, and let's install this MySQL client here on this machine. And yeah, we're good with the installation of this. Okay, now further we required one command. With that command here we are actually going to connect to your database. Okay, and what is that command is, so let me write for you guys. So that MySQL command is going to be this way: MySQL. Okay, now further, this is what an endpoint you have. Okay, and that's like you're connecting to host machine. So you're gonna say -h, and then here you're going to mention that endpoint. Okay, whatever is your endpoint in your case. Okay, just do mention that endpoint here. Then further, you're gonna say on which particular port you are going to connect. So that port number here you are going to mention, and -p, it's a 3306. That's a by default port for your MySQL. Then further, what is your username? -u username. So in our case, it's admin. Let me write it as username. Okay. Then so once you are mentioned with the username, you just need to mention the -p and just press enter. So this is going to be your command. Okay, this is going to be your command. So let's just go and say, or in fact, like if you're having any trouble here in understanding, I'll show you how to do it via internet. Okay, let's say connect to MySQL DB or RDS from AWS or EC2. Okay, you just search like this, and you can keep opening like the multiple documents, and in fact, like you should get lot of help from the articles also. So if this is something the article we have. So now they're talking about like starting from the how to launch EC2 and everything, right? So we know that much, right? So let's go ahead, and here they have created a MariaDB. Okay, so if you're creating MariaDB, then in that case this is a particular tool you will require, and this is what your command is going to be. Okay, you see here MySQL -h endpoint. Now I said that, right? Like whether you create a MariaDB or you create a MySQL, both are same. Okay, you can just see that thing here. Okay, it's the same command I have put it here. So the same command here, I'll write it. It's a MySQL. The endpoint here I need to choose. Okay. Next thing is -p 3306. No one just make a note of -p option, guys. Okay. I think this is optional. Okay, -p, even if you don't mention, that's fine. But if you are mentioning, just mention it. It says a capital letter. Okay, because small letter is denoted for your password. Okay, so here I'm gonna say -p. So this -p is small letter is for password. Okay, just press enter. It's asking me to put a password. Let me provide a password which I have selected while creating. Now I got an error. Okay, can't connect to local MySQL server through socket. So I got one error, and now this error could be because of the security group. Okay, so let me go back and fix the security group. Okay, so if I come on this particular the RDS database, here I should get the option of security group. Maybe let me check the configuration. Where is security group? Yeah, here. So that's my security group. Let me open it. So if I check this security group, let's check the inbound rule. So here, okay, in fact I have the inbound rule. Source IP is something here, this one. So I need to take care of the source IP. So what is my EC2 instance IP? For this is my instance IP. Okay, just make sure that you put a private IP. You allow the private IP of this EC2 machine. So I'm choosing the private IP, and here I'll go and inbound rule. I'll paste that IP. So I'm just allowing my EC2 server should be connecting to this database, and that's it. Okay, let me go back on this machine, and I will try to put that command again. Okay, I'm getting the connection error here. What is the reason? What password I selected? Okay, I believe that I'm putting the correct password. Let me check now. This shouldn't come. Okay, we should be able to connect. So everybody's talking about. So they have solved it by installing MySQL server. Okay, let me try this out again. Okay, we'll try this particular. Okay, first of all, let's install this MySQL. Okay, so we're good, and let's try to connect now. Okay, now this time we got some error different. Okay, now this looks like you have error with respect to the password. What password here I've selected? Just give me some time, guys. I forgot the password. Looks like I'm getting access denied. Okay, guys, so I have forgot the password actually. So I got confused between something admin @123 or whether I put @ a capital something. I just can't recall. So, but here, after that, I should be able to connect like this way. I've done this like multiple times. So like after putting this command, you should be able to enter to MySQL, and like here you can put the command like show databases, and you should be able to see all of these things. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, it's no big deal actually to run this command. uh so it's access denied I'm getting. Okay, earlier error was different, but this error is correct. Okay, like it's telling you to put the correct password, so I'm not able to recollect the password. Okay, so that's the issue I'm having. But I hope you got the point. Like what I'm trying to do here is that how we have created a EC2. Like here goal was to actually create the database, and for the database connectivities also I wanted to show you. But I did not be able to show you fully. But yes, you can get the idea like how it is going to work like that. You just try by yourself. Hopefully you will be able to do it. Okay. Any questions here, guys? Any of the questions here? Okay. No questions. Okay, great. Now here I just want to do one thing that I'm using the Sushila's account, so I'll just clear the everything. Okay, like here we have this database. So once here, in fact, the practice is done. Same thing, you guys also do it. So here you'll go and you will say delete. Okay, so in actions, you should get delete option. Okay, so click on delete. Then further, you can see here permanently delete database. You can't undo this action. But along with that, just make sure that you have tick mark this option. Okay, because you have created some no, wait, okay. So here it's asking actually to create a final snapshot. Okay, so you don't have to create any snapshot because you have done it for practice purpose. So just remove this tick mark. Then also retain automated backup, like whatever the backups you have taken. So retain those. No, I don't want any backup. And then you will select that I acknowledge that whatever the options here I've selected, I'm cleaning everything. To avoid accidental deletion, provide additional return concept. Okay, so that's what you're doing here. And then here just say delete me. Okay, and you're good. So just make sure that you don't tick this one, okay, because those will put some unnecessary cost. Okay, so let me say delete, and that's how you have deleted your this thing, and an instance I will simply terminate that one. Okay, so hopefully you have understood about the RDS service, how it works, how you can create a database. Any questions, guys, here till the time like what we have done in today's session? Anything you want to ask? Any questions? No questions? Okay, fine, then we'll stop here in today's session. So yeah, have a good day, guys. Bye bye.
Amal, hi, sorry.
Yes.
I have mailed you something yesterday. Will you please take a look at it?
Yes, sure. Okay, Aditya, I'll reply to your mail.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.